Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to IMI Radio. This is Miguel on the radio. This is the first show that we are hosting here at IMI Radio in Warsaw, in Poland. We are live from Warsaw, Poland now. And I'm Miguel, your host. My name is Miguel and I come all the way from Brazil. And I've been living here in Poland, here in Warsaw for a year. And I'm very happy to be here with you guys. Today we're going to do a very cool show. It's a pilot. We're going to test new grounds. You're going to learn something new all together in this wonderful afternoon. It's now, 25 degrees in Warsaw. The weather is amazing. It's a beautiful day. The birds are chirping and the flowers are blooming and is everything perfect. I'm very happy to be here. I'm talking about myself a little bit. Miguel, as I said, I come from São Paulo, the biggest city in South America. I was born there. I was born in Brazil, and I've lived the first 20 years of my life in South America, in that country. And yes, I've lived in many places throughout my life, and I decided to call Poland my home. And you may ask, but why? Why are you here? I believe Poland is a special country. I believe Warsaw is the place to be, and I feel that I'm lucky to be living in this city, living in this country. I love everything about it, the culture, the people. A lot of things here are really fantastic, and we're gonna talk a little bit about those today. We're gonna talk about art and events. We're gonna talk about what's happening in Warsaw? Why is Warsaw so special? We are doing our broadcasting in English, and we want to talk about how multicultural and how international Warsaw is becoming, how vibrant the artistic community is, and how events are happening every day. This city is like a festival, ladies and gentlemen. Every day there is something interesting, something cool. There are niche events and niche groups forming every day. Doesn't matter what you like, culturally speaking. You're going to find your gang. You're going to find your group. You're going to find yourself. So it is a special place. Indeed, indeed, indeed. What do I do here in Warsaw? I moved here, as I said, a year ago, all the way from Switzerland. I was living in Switzerland for 5 years before moving here. And I was living in a very isolated place. I was living in a small village in the Alps, in the mountains. And I was working with watches. I was selling watches. I was managing a watch shop. I was all over this market, this Swiss industry, the Swiss watch industry. And for 5 years, I've done this, and I've lived in this isolated place. But I always wanted to be a creative. I always wanted to work with culture, with art, be a more artistic person, yeah. And I was coming to Warsaw very often to visit friends. I was coming to Warsaw to go to the opera, to go to festivals. I was coming to Warsaw for many cultural events, and I saw how interesting and unique Warsaw was, yeah. And then with time, my hairdresser was in Warsaw. My dentist was in Warsaw. And I started thinking, wow, why not move to Warsaw? And if you talk about this to other people in Europe, they say, oh, why would you quit your job in Switzerland where you have a comfortable life, you have a secure life, to move to Poland? And Yes, it took me a year to study this option. It took me a year to analyze what were the benefits of moving here and if I should do it or not. And after this year, after studying the situation, I said yes to Poland. I saw that that was the right decision to do. So I went back and I quit my job in Switzerland and I started packing, and I slowly started moving here. And I think that was the best decision of my life. You see, now we are on the radio talking about stories and sharing perspectives and bringing new voices, bringing people that actually work with art. You may think like, is it possible to actually, maybe adventure myself and with what I'm passionate about? Is it possible to live from art in Poland, in Warsaw? And I say yes, but you have to sacrifice a lot. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for the sacrifices, the struggle, the hustle? Are you ready for the disappointments? Are you ready for just dedication, um, and and seeing what's important? I believe that today, Warsaw provides this platform. I think there are voices out there. There are people out there that do art full time, and they are international. They come from all over the world, and they chose Poland as their home base, as their base camp, and they are creating and they are changing the world. They are inspiring new voices, and I think that's important, and that's what we're trying to bring to you in this live radio show. Every Wednesday at 3 p.m., I'll be here talking about what's new and bringing guests, perhaps. Yes, we have some guests on the list, bringing people to talk about their stories. How did they do it? How did they come from working 9 to 5 in their office jobs and for their corporate gigs, and just dedicating their lives for companies and etc. How did they go from that traditional lifestyle, which is fine. I'm not saying that that's a wrong thing to do. There's different strokes for different folks. If you are building a career at corporate today, more power to you. And if you're happy with that, I mean, go for it, man. But if you're missing something, if there's something that is not fulfilled, if there's a hole inside of you, if you're just pushing yourself towards every day and feel that you want to share something, you have a voice, you want to create music or photography or cinema, you want to express your ideas, maybe there's a chance. There's a chance, and we're gonna talk about that trajectory. We're gonna talk about the steps. We're gonna talk about how. But yes, if you feel inspired, tune in. Tune in every week. We're gonna bring a new chapter of these stories, new tools to your arsenal, and yeah, hopefully inspire you. Hopefully, make you learn something new. And today, I'm gonna talk about myself. I'm gonna talk about my trajectory. I'm gonna talk about what brought me here today. There's a lot of things that actually inspire me to be an artist. I've been working with comedy in Warsaw for around almost a year, and I've been building a comedy community scene here in Warsaw, international one, English speakers, bringing people together to do stand-up comedy and also improvisational theater. I believe comedy is one of the hardest art forms to make people laugh or to understand why or how people laugh. It is a puzzle, and I wanted to start with something hard. I wanted to start with a challenge, yeah. And I found that the challenge here is to actually make Polish people laugh. And what a great challenge! What a hard thing to do, but with a lot of perseverance, it becomes achievable. And we've been doing this. I've been doing this for a few months, almost a year, and we gather wonderful people. There are a lot of talented people here in this city, and they have something to say, and they have a message. They are truly talented people, and I believe, first of all, my goal is to bring new channels for them to express themselves, to build something together, to collaborate, with all sorts of individuals, and to create something cool together. And 5 years from now, when we look back, we say, "Wow, that was like this, and it became something bigger." Yeah, because in this year, a lot of things changed already. When I first came to Warsaw, comedy in English was something underground, was something that you really had to look for it. It was not out there. Everybody had to make an effort to find those places, and there were only a few people doing it. Yeah, there was. If I can mention some names, there were this Ariel Białski, this Canadian Polish guy that's been doing hosting shows here out of passion, and just a very talented, very funny guy for 4 years, if I'm not mistaken, for many years, and just doing his best to keep things moving here. There was this Ravi Kumar, this guy from India, that was doing showcases, and also out of passion, just bringing people together, and showcases the best, pushing people to show their best material. And there was Philip Des, Polish guy, that was hosting shows, very underground, always very um, like never know if they were gonna happen or not. Yes, shows that were hidden, kind of the big scene, and I think only a few people were doing as a hobby. They were performing as a hobby. They were going there and just doing this 5 minutes every week, more as a hobby. And I believe when I came, the intention was to see what can I do differently. How can I add something here? What can I do that hasn't been done yet? And study the scene and the people, and see, wow, what can I do to improve, to push things, to elevate everything, push things up, and collaborate with these people, see my ideas. I think I have a lot to add to this scene. And yes, what a surprise. I think a lot of people started doing comedy more seriously since I arrived, and a lot of people got inspired by this motivation that I have, this energy, this wave that I created. And I see that out there. I see that there's potential, and people perhaps they are taking things more seriously. They're seeing that it's a hobby, it's interesting, but maybe there's more into it. If I work harder on my material, if I work on the delivery, if I do things a little bit different, it can go a long way. Yeah? So slight different improvements can make a big difference in the scene. I think also the Warsaw noticed that people are putting more effort into it. I think recently, with a few new shows and formats and new voices, new people hosting, and I think Warsaw now can see that there is comedy in English, and it's funny, and it is it is relevant. It is not underground anymore, and I'm very happy, and I'm gonna keep doing my best. I'm gonna doing out of passion as well, inspired by the people that were here before me, and yeah, building up, doing things differently. Even if I need to do things different from everybody else, I think there's a lot of courage into that to change, take risk, and that's what I've been doing, taking the risk of building something different. What about if we go to a different direction? What about if we try things slightly different in a different way? And yeah, that's what I experimenting with things, and and I'm very proud. I'm very happy that and it's been showing. People are coming and liking, and there is a following, and a lot of people now they consider, especially Polish people, they consider English speaking shows as a way of entertainment, and that's it's cool. That's important. Um, I believe that we in Poland here we have uh, very very like world class talents. I think we have people that can perform worldwide if they have the chance. Yeah, I think that there's people with so much experience as well, and I believe it needs they need to have confidence in themselves, and they need to have the platform as well for them to expand. Yeah, and as I said, a lot of people they just want to do as a hobby as well. That's okay. A lot of people they just want after work to try some jokes, 5 minutes, and we are welcoming to everybody. And recently we had a lot of new people trying stand-up comedy, which is amazing. Young people, all ages. We had a 87-year-old gentleman trying stand-up comedy for the first time, and that's cool. I mean, when you hear people that we create an environment that is so welcoming and that is so inspiring that everyone wants to try, everyone wants to join in, everyone. Why not to challenge yourself? Why not to experiment with something new? Because I can tell you, um, stand-up comedy is not just about jokes. Yeah, there's so much more into it. It's so much more complex than that. And it can improve an individual in so many ways. Yeah, you can learn not just how to speak in public, but you can improve your communication skills and storytelling skills, and you can improve so much as an individual just by pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And that's what I believe stand-up taught me so far. I think I've learned a lot about myself as well, writing jokes and writing my stories and finding more about who I am, and also about psychology, what people respond to, presence, charisma, public speaking, things that can help you in every aspect of your life. Yeah, and that's what stand-up comedy brings, because you are on stage by yourself. You are vulnerable. You are completely alone, and everything you do, say, the way you move, your everything is absorbed by the public, and it's, yeah, you're very vulnerable, very sensitive to everything. Yeah, the crowd is, they're all eyes unto you, and that's a place to be. Yeah, to be completely vulnerable, and you learn a lot when you put yourself in those situations. So yes, if you ever want to try to put yourself in a new situation, in an uncomfortable situation, and try stand-up comedy, for all the benefits that I mentioned earlier, just reach out to me, contact me, and you'll be welcome. If you need help with your material, I have me that I can give you some feedback, but we also have a lot of more experienced people that can help you and bring you feedback. I want to organize workshops on comedy writing. I want to bring people that really have accomplished something around, that have experience to come and inspire others and share their stories and perspectives, and maybe help someone that wants to start. Yeah, maybe you have a funny story that happens to you. Everyone has, I think, a funny story that happened to you, and you want to share, and you want to make it more funny with comedic tools like exaggeration and yeah, satire and everything. Funny voices. So many ways you can make something funny. Yeah, even funnier if you have a story already that is hilarious. So yeah, I think on the comedy side of things, that's my passion. I love to entertain, to make people laugh. I love to share a story. I believe that I'm becoming better each day at it, and I'm proud. I'm proud to say that yeah, I started 1 year ago, and I still have a long way to go. But with every day, I dedicate myself to improve, and part of this improvement is being on this radio station today, and 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 sharing, talking to you all. I mean, how many people do we have listening? I don't know, but I believe that if you are there and you are listening to me, um, I I hope that you are getting something out of it. So let's let's do a break for a song. Let's listen to something cool. Let's yeah, listen to some inspiring beats. Why not? I'm gonna put one of our songs today. We're gonna listen to it, and we'll be back right after. What about that? See you soon. Random sort of songs. I just put it a surprise song, and I like it. I like it. Here, welcome back. We are here live from Warsaw. Miguel on the radio. A pleasure to be here today. We are bringing a little bit of myself in this first episode. A little bit about who am I? Who is your locutor? Who is the voice behind the radio? Yeah. A lot of stories, a lot of me, very honest, how I have been living here in Warsaw, Poland. It is a special place to be. What I think what made me move here is not just the fact that there's a vibrant artistic scene. It is that I believe Polish people very very open-minded. Um, I've been fitting very well with the culture and having an amazing time meeting the locals, experiencing what Poland is all about. Um, I have been to Polish Christmas, Polish Easter. I have been to events. I have been to disco polos. I have been to night outs, and wow, I have been to Polish weddings. And you guys know how to celebrate. You guys know how to have a good time. I believe here Polish people are very hard working, and they work hard, but they do play harder, and I appreciate that about the local culture. Yeah, very more traditional people. I think a lot of interesting facts about this place. Some people they complain about the weather, and yeah, the winter can be a little bit long, but there's not much more to complain about here besides the weather. I think we can focus on the only perhaps negative thing that this place has, but there's so many other amazing facts about Poland, and I want to talk a little bit about them. Share the wonderful Polish fun facts. I mean, Poland, it is super international. I think you can go. A lot of people don't know, but in Warsaw you can get by with English very well. Yeah. If you just walk around, you get lost. If you wanna go to a restaurant or something, if you wanna leave in Warsaw, you can get by with just English. Of course, if you want to stay long term, there's always a blind spot when you don't speak the local language. There's always a moment where you reach a limit. You cannot go further without the language, yeah? And those moments, they come not just when you go to a milk bar, not just when you go to, Żabka, far away from the city center. Those moments, they come when you try to navigate Polish bureaucracy. Yes, you may need a local to help you understand how things work and how to go further and include yourself in the country formally with documents and stuff. That demands, that still demands Polish knowledge, or you have to hire a lawyer or this kind of things, you know. But if you want to leave and just spend the day and move, I can go everywhere and do everything, pretty much everything, all of my daily activities just with English, which is amazing, which is fantastic. And I want to learn Polish. I want to deal with this blind spot eventually. And Polish language, it is perhaps a life project. It is complex. It is hard. I notice that it's a little bit far of my reality, but why not? It's a new challenge. Why not push myself to, comprehend and perhaps one day be able to speak the local language. And so far, I've been dealing with a few words. Grammar, not. I haven't dove into the grammar side of things, but yeah, a few words they go a long way. If you know how to say thank you, if you a good smiley cinque goes a long way here. And yeah, so day-to-day lives, day-to-day simple words, they can help you a lot on your routine when you are in Warsaw, Poland. I cannot speak for the countryside. I did spend some time in Wrocław, maybe 10 years ago, and I think there at the time, English was a little bit more, less spoken. But here, honestly, I feel that I can get by. I can communicate. I can even not just work wise when I do comedy in English, but also my daily life. I can get by with English, and I want to tackle that. I know that there's a blind spot there, and if I want to live in Poland, learning the local language it becomes a priority eventually, and that's what I'm navigating towards learning po polsku. And yes, I do speak a lot of languages. I come from Brazil. I speak Portuguese, and I've learned Spanish in Argentina, and those languages, they are very similar. I was working on a cruise ship for 3 years. I was navigating the world on a boat, on a cruise ship I was part of the entertainment department. I was doing animation for kids between 3 and 11 years old, and I was traveling the world on this huge international cruise ships, and we had people from all over the world, and I learned languages on board. So I was able to learn Spanish because we had a lot of Argentinians. I was doing this South American route with transatlantics and yeah, huge, sometimes 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people on a cruise, and yeah, very very cool. I remember at the time I was taking care of the club together with the team. I think we were 8, 9, 10 people, and we had a club on board, a children's club on board, and the parents, they can have vacation from the kids. So they came for vacation on board, and we open at 9 in the morning and we closed at midnight. And the parents, they came, they all take care of my kids, and they just wanted some break from being a parent, which is fine. And we were organizing lunch, dinner. We were doing treasure hunts around the ship and going to the disco to dance, and yeah, very intense, but very very rewarding work. I was able to also learn French on board and start learning German, and yeah, it was a very very rewarding, very intense experience. But I highly recommend, if you want to experience a little bit of the world and learn new things, and yeah, maybe apply for a cruise ship company. And with animation is really cool. Costumes, we're dancing, doing flash mobs and theater shows, and but a lot of art involved. Yeah, and that was, I believe, in my life, was my first artistic endeavor. Was my first time experiencing what is to be on stage. Yeah. Now we were hosting shows for kids, sometimes 100 kids, 150 kids with their parents, and we were hosting these shows in different languages. Yeah. So we had to explain the rules of the games that we're hosting. We were playing games, so sometimes there were kids versus parents. We were playing games, and we had to explain the rules if we had in English. If we had Spanish speakers, we had to explain in Spanish, in German, and so forth. So yes, if you ever go to a cruise ship and you notice that the host or of the night, or the person that is organizing games in a cruise ship, they always explain the games and the rules of the games in many languages. Yeah, so that the person gives you a skill. So that gave me this skill of just sometimes reading. I remember I was in the beginning, I had to read the game rules in German and get all confused, but that I think that taught me a lot about presence and charisma, and also about being clear. When you explain things to kids, you have to be clear. And sometimes when I do stand-up comedy nowadays, I notice that I talk maybe the same way I explain the games for the kids in the cruise ship, and I think that's a quirky characteristic that I have. I don't know if I want to take it out, but I believe that I'm very clear when I communicate. I think I believe people, they follow me well. They I make the effort to take the listeners on a ride and explain why I'm saying the things that I'm saying. Yeah. So yeah, the cruise ship. Sometimes I remember the parents just leaving the kids at 9 in the morning, and we closing at midnight, and the parents did not show up still to pick up the kids, and we had to walk around the cruise ship looking for the parents. Like, where are they? They're closing, and after walking around for 10-15 minutes, we meet the parent in the casino, just playing the casino and forgetting the time, and I say, here you go, sir, this is your kid, we are closing. And yeah, sometimes I don't know, I don't have any kids. I'm looking forward to having kids soon, but not yet. But I imagine that maybe if you are a full-time parent, you're looking for, forward to sometimes having a break. It must be hard. It must demand a lot of your time, and I understand those parents in vacation as well. Yeah, after traveling around the world, I did South America. I travel all over the Mediterranean, and I also did the north of Europe, so Norway, the Baltic, into St. Petersburg, always with the cruise ship, always working as a children counselor, a children animator. I met a lot of cool people, made friends all over the world, and it was very intense. When you work on a cruise ship, you work every day. That's correct. You don't have a day off. So you can do, I remember I did 8 to 10 months working every single day. So a lot of sometimes you work 5 days, sometimes you work just 10, 12 hours. Sometimes you in one day you work 5 hours. Sometimes in one day you work 10 to 12 hours, but you work every day of your contract when you are on board. You embark, you share a cabin with someone else, and yeah, the person sometimes is from the same area. If you work with entertainment, the person that you share the cabin with would be a colleague from the entertainment department. Yeah, so musicians or hosts and also from all over the world. And you work every single day. You eat on board. You have a kitchen. I have a mess just for you. You go there. There's a buffet, and you eat. And yeah, you have a bar just for you. You have a swimming pool just for you underground. Have you watched Titanic? That's more or less what working on board is. You go under the sea, where under everything. You go. Your cabin is below everybody else's cabin. You are in the underground, the underfloor of the cruise ship, and you have your area that you leave with bars and things just for the crew, just for people that work on the cruise ship. It's a very interesting experience. It's a very interesting area to work with and learn things. After doing the cruise ship, I've lived in different countries. I moved straight to Dublin in Ireland, and I've spent the whole summer, 2014, 2015, just in Dublin trying to find a job. And I remember that the weather was just cold every day throughout summer. I went out with shorts just once, and I decided that Dublin was not for me. And I just said goodbye to Ireland after the whole summer there. And I moved to a place called Birmingham in England, in the UK. When I moved to Dublin, to Birmingham, I found a job. Basically, on the first week, I was hosting pub crawls for a hostel. I was bringing people out for the nightlife, hosting events, organizing games for travelers, backpackers in an international hostel. And I also worked for the Apple store at the Bull Ring in the center of Birmingham. And it was very cool. I lived there for a year and a half in Birmingham, England. And I had an amazing time. Birmingham is the second largest city in England and half the price of London. Very international, people from all over the world. Is really a fascinating city. Doesn't have a good rep. If you tell a British person about Birmingham, they'll probably fringe. But it is a very, very cool city nevertheless. I have good memories from Birmingham. And then after leaving Birmingham, I moved to France. And I was working as an animator in a vacation resort, doing sport activities, stretching, doing dancing in the swimming pool, teaching samba, teaching all sorts of things, doing bow and arrow games, and just animation for a resort, in a vacation resort. Animation guy, bringing joy to people, and inviting people to games and activities. And I've done this for a while. I've learned, improve my French. My French today is really good because of that. But then, moving around, I ended up having dreams to backpack around the world and moving to different places. I went to volunteer in Wrocław for a while, where I did also pub crawls. My first contact with Poland, and was love at first sight. That was a few years ago, and I had good memories from Wrocław, from Poland. I think always Poland was one of my favorite countries since I first stepped in this country. But after this volunteering experience in Wrocław, I moved to Mongolia. I was backpacking around the world. I did a Trans-Siberian Railroad. I from Wrocław, I took a bus to Warsaw, to here, and then I took a bus to Minsk. That was 2017. I went to Minsk, Belarus. I visited a friend there. I spent 1-2 weeks in Minsk, just getting to know. My first contact with a really strong Soviet country, and I had a very good experience. I learned a lot just being there and experiencing the country, Belarus. Very beautiful country. And then from Minsk, I took a train to Moscow, and I started doing this Trans-Siberian Railroad. I was stopping towards interesting cities. So from Moscow, I went to Kazan, and I stopped in Kazan. Is one of my favorite cities in Russia. I went to Ekaterinburg, Krasnoyarsk, and I traveled all over Russia by train, and always I was always well received, even if I didn't speak the language. People in the train, they try to communicate, they try to write things to me, they offer me food. People even made my bed in the train. When I went to brush my teeth, I came back and my bed was made, and people were really kind and nice. As a traveler, I believe I had not just luck, but I had amazing experiences, and I was able to connect with a lot of good people. I ended up in Ulaanbaatar. I ended up in Mongolia, where I worked as an English teacher throughout the winter. I arrived in Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar, the 1st of December of 2018, I believe, and it was minus 40 degrees. And Ulaanbaatar, I didn't know before going there, is the coldest capital city in the world, and is the coldest place I've ever been in my life. And as a Brazilian person, as a person that comes from a Latin country, tropical, being in that situation was like being in another planet. And I think that's what Mongolia is. It is another planet. It's one of the most extreme countries I've ever been to in my life. And yeah, I remember I had to be at school to teach at 8 in the morning. I was living with a Mongolian family in a Soviet building. I was teaching English to the woman in the family. It was a kid, a 10-year-old kid, maybe a 40-year-old woman and her mother and me in the apartment, and I got to dive into the Mongolian culture and story and lifestyle, and that was very interesting, very extreme, as I said. Mongolia, it is not just cold, but it's also very it's a desert and nothing grows in Mongolia. So all the food basically comes from other countries, from China, and because it's such that they have the Gobi Desert, so cold, the weather is so extreme that the food doesn't grow there. Yeah, so um, there are at the time that I was living there were 3 million Mongolians. Now, and then 1.5 million were living in the Ulaanbaatar, in the capital, and half of that were sleeping in a yurta. Yurta is a tent. Yeah, so Mongolians traditionally they are nomads, and they live in these yurtas, in these huge tents, and they, in the old days they used to have 4 different homes a year. They just took out their tent and they moved to a different place. Now, in the capital of Mongolia, a lot of them live in a yurta permanently. Yeah, and when you live in a tent and it's minus 40 degrees outside, and you don't have money to buy coal to make your tent warm, what do? You burn what you have to make fire, to make the tent warm. So in Mongolia, in Ulaanbaatar, half of the population they live in this yurta and they burn garbage to make the yurta warm to survive the winter. So the city is very polluted. I think it's 4 times more polluted than Beijing. So yeah, the air is quite there's a lot of smog. Yeah, it's quite polluted. It's quite extreme. So it's not just cold, but the air is also polluted. And I remember I was wearing a mask there. Before the pandemic, 2017, 18. I was wearing a mask every day to go to work because of the pollution. And then when the winter stops and it starts to get a little bit warmer and the snow melts and the ice melts and maybe the air starts to get less polluted, then the sandstorms come, and then it's a beautiful day, you're walking outside, there's maybe 0 degrees, and then this wall of sand just comes and you have to find shelter. So it is like living in Mars. So Elon Musk, if you want to learn how to live in Mars, learn how to live in Mongolia. That's the message of the day. Yes. So after all this adventure, going around the world and pushing myself to my limits and adventuring in different cultures, I've learned a lot about people, and I've learned a lot about myself. And I got into almost to my 30s, yeah, and I wanted some comfort. I wanted to build something long term. So I looked in the map to a place where I could go, that I could be safe for a while, because I was adventuring myself too much. So yeah, well, I'm Brazilian, but I'm half Italian. So my mother's family has Italian descendants, so I have an Italian passport as well, which allows me to move around and live basically anywhere I want, which is a bless. Yeah, I understand a lot of people, maybe people that are listening, they don't have this gift. Just it's a good thing to be able to be free and choose the place that I want to live. Yeah, I did live a while in Italy. I spent some time in the south working with animation as well, but I wanted stability. So I moved to one of the most stable countries in the world, one of the most perhaps secure, safe places to be. I moved to Switzerland. I was hitchhiking around the country at the time. I was just sleeping in a tent and looking for a job, and I ended up finding a place to live and spending 5 years of my life there, just growing and working with watches and growing in the watch industry and making a name for myself, a career, and this kind of things. And I found the security, and I found the safe haven. I found a place that actually, I could live the rest of my life and just retire. And just because there's, we were so with someone with my background and a person that is driven, for a person that believes. I think Switzerland is a very good place if you have a goal, if you know how to sell things, if you are good in communication, if you're good with languages, especially the tourism industry in Switzerland, I think needs people like that. So I was very well received, and I always had a lot of good work opportunities. Professionally, my life was really, as productive as it could be. It was really. I feel very lucky that I had this experience in Switzerland, and I was looking for new challenges. I was looking for a new beginning. I was looking for building a family, and when I was isolated in this mountain city that was very touristic, I saw, well, maybe this is not my place. I want to express myself and be creative and live from art, and with time, I started to consider moving here, and that's what brought me to Poland. You know more or less about my backstory. You know more or less about who is the person behind the mic, who is Miguel, and why is he here. Maybe that's a good topic of today's show. Tonight I'm hosting a comedy battle between two Canadians. They are Canadian Polish, and they've been living here for a while, and they are very talented comedians. They're very funny. They are performing a comedy battle. They are fighting for a belt, just like a box match, but they are punching each other with jokes, and very funny, very talented people, really inspiring. And I'm very excited for the show tonight, and I want to invite you guys. It's at 8 p.m. at the Gin Bar in front of the Palace of Culture. Very nice ginery. They make their own gin in the UK. Very passionate people as well. Love to work with them. So it's a cool show. I'm gonna host the show, and we're gonna see the people decide with who wins. I hope to see you guys there. That was a pleasure. This week we have so many events. I have an event on Friday. It's a roast. I'm gonna get roast. It's a Man of the Hour homage on Friday at Piotr Nejej, a venue also in the city center, in the heart of Warsaw. 8 p.m. on Friday. I'm also hosting my own talk show. It's bi-weekly on Saturdays. On Sunday, I have an improvisation show, theater, with a lot of cool theater people from Sweden, from Uruguay, from America. Very cool, very talented people. And that's what keeps me, going, and it keeps me happy and makes me wake up every night with a smile, every day with a smile. It's just the people that I have around me. They are amazing. I'm very lucky to be inspired and to work together with so many creative people that makes me proud, makes me smile. And this song is dedicated to them. I wish you guys a wonderful afternoon. On Wednesday, today is the 28th of May 2025, and this was Miguel on the radio for you, Warsaw, live to the world. Thank you so much. And I hope you enjoyed this song. It's a surprise song. I never heard this song. I don't know what that song is about. I want to also thank Samir here from IMI Radio. That was a pleasure. I hope everyone, enjoyed the experience. And I'll see you, or I'll talk to you on next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Thank you so much, and have an amazing, amazing day. Bye bye.